Hello everyone! Today we're going to cover some of the basics of styling in the web with CSS. This is part 2 of a 3-part video series of creating structure, style and interactivity in a web page using HTML, CSS and JavaScript, which are the 3 core technologies of the World Wide Web. In the previous video, we learned a bit about HTML and created some structure of our web page. And today we're going to learn how to add some style to that. Hi, my name's Sarah. I'm a software developer. My pronouns are she and her. And today I'm filming from the lands of the Paramank people, where sovereignty was never ceded. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I work with Code Like a Girl to provide education and opportunities to help us all become equal creators in building the future. So this is our web page so far. We can see that it contains a couple of elements, but it's not very interesting. It's pretty boring. So let's add some style. First, we're going to cover a few basics of CSS, which is the language that we're going to use to style our HTML elements. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it's a language that's used to describe the presentation of a document that's written in HTML. And CSS is used to change things like fonts, and colors and change sizes and layouts, anything that affects the look and feel of a web page. So to add style to the web page that we have so far, we're going to use our styles.css file that we created in the last video and that we've already linked into our index.html. And to style our elements here, we're going to need to use some CSS rule sets. So a CSS rule set is made up of several components. We have a selector, which is the element that we're going to be targeting. We have our opening and closing curly brackets. And inside our curly brackets, we can put our declarations. And our declarations are made up of a property and then a colon and one or more values that we're going to apply to that property. Let's add some rule sets. I'm going to open my styles.css file. I'm going to start really simply just by changing the size of our H1, our heading 1 here. Control S and I can see that's changed the size of my H1 to 100 pixels. There are other methods you can use to change font size, but pixels is a really good way to start. The next thing that I'm going to have a go with is changing the background color of my document body. I'm also going to have a go at adding a border to my body background. And I'm going to remove the default margin that the browser has given me by changing that to margin 0. So the browser will come with a few default styles that we can already see here. For example, the default color of the text is black, the default color of a link is blue, and we can override all of those styles using CSS. With CSS, there are a number of web-safe colors that we can use, and we can just use simple color names that we know, things like pink and yellow and blue. There are also a bunch more in there like light blue and magenta that you can play around with. If you want to get really specific with the color hue and shade that you want to use, you can use something called a hex code, which is a 6-digit code preceded by the hashtag symbol that tells the browser exactly what color values to use. So here's a color palette I'm going to use, and I can pull these hex codes directly from here, copy them, and use them in my code. So I'm going to change the color of my H1 heading, as well as a few other colors that I've added in here. I also really want to change my fonts, and just like with colors, there are some web-safe fonts you can use, things like Times New Roman, but I want to choose my own fonts, and to do that I'm going to use a tool called Google Fonts. I'm going to choose this one here called Righteous, and I'm going to select the style and find the link to embed the font in my index.html file. I'm just going to paste that into the head of my index.html, which is going to make it available for me to use in my style sheet. So in this embed tool for my selected family, I have a CSS rule that I can just copy and paste directly into my styles.css in my H1 rule set. And once I save that, I can see I now have a customized font. There's a few more things I want to do with my H1 tag here. I want to give it the actual H1 element a background color and put a border around it. I want to center align it and give it some padding and transform it to uppercase and then put a kind of an outline all the way around the text. I'm also going to play with some of the colors here and also change the font family of my A tag to monospace. All right, the next thing I want to do is change the layout. And I'm going to do that using a tool called Flexbox. And this is where I'm going to use the main tag that we added into our HTML document. So targeting my main tag, I'm going to give it a display of flex. The flex direction should be column. I want to justify the content in the center and align items center. I'm also going to give it a vertical height of 95 VH, vertical height. There's a bit of maths I've done here. And a border of 8 pixels with that purple color that I chose before. And actually I'm changing that border to 10 pixels because that kind of aligns things a little bit better. Those are our basic styles that we're going to be working with for now. CSS is a really wonderful language. It's really flexible. There are many different ways you can do the same thing. So let us know if you've got any ways or ideas of how you would have approached this differently. Let us know in the comments. If you're really interested in this kind of thing, Code Like a Girl does have an intro to web development course, which I'll leave information for in the description of this video. I'll also have the source code linked in the description as well. Make sure you check out the next part of this video series where we're going to add some interactivity into our webpage. And really, I encourage you to continue on your coding journey. Thank you so much for watching. Please follow Code Like a Girl on social media to hear more from us. Thank you so much to everyone who makes Code Like a Girl possible. Let us know if you've got any tips or questions about learning how to code, and we'll see you next time. Keep coding. See you later. Bye.